Good morning, and that's what's really interesting, Brandon and Lauren. Frisco police have not said if any other reports were filed or if there's a possible connection to this case. They also have not made any arrests. 15-year-old Anka Dar says he took his dog Ruffles out for a walk in the Greyhawk neighborhood in Frisco Sunday night. Nothing really out of the ordinary. He says he noticed a stranger, though, who later came up to him. That person claimed Dar looked familiar and then walked a few steps ahead of him. Dar says moments later that person turned around and stabbed him with a pocket knife.
I called my mom. I was like, quickly bring me a towel so I could wrap this up and then call 911. It seems safe to me because we live in Frisco. It's nothing really like that ever happens, but now I know you should be careful anywhere you go.
Yeah, ring footage from a nearby home confirms Dar's claims. It shows the suspect running toward him. Dar had to get stitches in his arm, but he was released from the hospital. Again, Frisco police have not made an arrest in this case, so now they're asking anyone with really any information to come forward. For Good Day, I'm Paige Ellenberger.
And Lauren, the Richardson ISD put out a statement that says our Hill Country neighbors have shown incredible resilience. Now it is our turn to stand with them and show our love. This is the first day of school in the Hunt School District. Students and employees here in Richardson ISD will be wearing green as a show of support. The devastating July 4th flood is something that was felt on a personal level by many here in the Richardson ISD. One of the girls who died at Camp Mystic went to school here at Lake Highlands Elementary in Dallas when Naylor was 8 years old. Today at the state capitol, a coalition of parents of the girls who lost their lives in the Camp Mystic flood will testify before the Senate Disaster Relief and Preparedness Subcommittee. Lawmakers are considering measures to improve safety at youth camps across the state. This marks the first time families will appear publicly before the legislature since last month's disaster. The parents of at least one of the flood victims have already been in contact with lawmakers to advocate for better safety measures and emergency plans. 19-year-old Catherine Ferruzzo was a counselor at Camp Mystic. She died along with the campers she was trying to protect when their cabin flooded. Her parents wrote a column that appeared yesterday in the Austin American-Statesman that says, in part, to be certain, Catherine's death was heroic, but it was also 100% preventable. We urge the Texas legislature to make camp safety its top priority this special session, and we ask our communities to call upon their legislators to urgently support House Bill 1 and Senate Bill 1. 19-year-old Catherine Ferruzzo was scheduled to begin classes next week at UT Austin. Reporting live in Dallas, Dan Godwin on Good Day.
All right, Dan, thanks. A Dallas police dog was taken to a vet after a heat-related emergency.
Yeah, police have not named the K-9, but do say that he was helping locate suspects. This was in Far East Dallas. He was taken to a nearby vet, then ended up at an emergency vet. Fox 4's Amelia Jones has more. Amelia.
Heather, Steve, I spoke with a witness, and her family is assuming that the suspect is still at large. Dallas police haven't shared any updates on the suspect or the condition of the K-9 officer tonight. All they will say is that this is still an active call and information is limited. Around 1:40 p.m. at the intersection of Highland Road and Bar X Street.
My mom actually saw through the window. She saw someone getting stopped by police.
Valeria Martinez and her family thought it was a normal traffic stop. Their security cameras caught a red SUV with two men sitting on the curb talking to Dallas police officers. Martinez said when police went to arrest the men, one of them took off.
He actually hit the officer with his elbow and then ran off.
Dallas police haven't shared any information about the arrest or what led officers to stop the car in the first place. But DPD did say officers called for backup to search for the suspect. Martinez says 2 K-9 units showed up in addition to several more officers.
They asked us if he jumped the fence into our backyard, and we were like, no.
Dallas police say while searching for the suspect, one of the K-9 officers suffered a heat-related illness. Sky 4 shows the procession of squad cars outside the Casa Linda Animal Clinic before they rush the dog to the med vet on Central Expressway. Dallas police say the dog was taken to a veterinarian for a medical evaluation.
I know he was trying to do his job, but like in this weather, it's really hard.
Tuesday's high temperature was over 100 degrees. It's not clear how long the K-9 was working in the heat, but Martinez says police searched the area for a couple of hours.
We actually went to the back to look at the cameras, and that's when he came out, and he was like doing his job. Like he was going back and forth, trying to smell him out. And then after that, we saw that they took him like to the car or something, so we just assumed like he was done, but we didn't assume like it was that serious.
Now that she knows what happened, Martinez hopes the K-9 officer will recover.
And I hope he really gets better, because it's really sad to hear that.
We asked Dallas police if there are any policies or procedures in place when it comes to K-9 officers working in this extreme heat, but they didn't share any of that information. We're still waiting to learn the identity of which K-9 officer was taken to the vet. Heather, Steve.
All right, Amelia Jones outside Dallas Police Headquarters. Amelia, COVID-19 infections are starting to increase in Texas and all across the country, as usually happens this time of year.
All right, so cases aren't rising at an alarming rate, but the spike does line up with the start of school. Fox 4's Stephen Dial live with more. Stephen.
I spoke to Children's Health head of infectious diseases, and he says that they've seen an increase of about 60% in positive tests for COVID, but he warns he just wants people to be aware of the increase and not alarmed.
It's curious that this is all coinciding with the openings of school that we had over the last couple of weeks.
Remember COVID-19? Yes, it's still hanging around in our communities. The CDC is estimating COVID infections growing in 34 states. The region that includes Texas had an 11% positivity rate, higher than most of the country, but still much lower than pandemic levels. Dr. Jeffrey Kahn put that in perspective.
Now, the virus is changing subtly. And I think some of that immunity may wane, whether from natural infection or from vaccination. But I think the overall numbers are nothing like we saw at the beginning of the pandemic.
The impact on hospitals is lower as well. Children's only has 2 children currently in the ICU due to COVID. But Dr. Kahn says the symptoms are still the same, and preventative measures are what you've been hearing for years. Making sure your hands are clean.
The vaccine recommendations are quite complicated now, so just touch base with your child's pediatrician or with your primary care provider. And the other thing is to wash your hands. And I think that's not appreciated as much as it should be.
So the CDC also said recently that they've seen an increase in ER visits nationwide for all age groups. Again, Dr. Kahn saying that cases are going up, but definitely nothing like we saw 3 or 4 years ago.
All right, that's Stephen Dial in downtown Dallas. Stephen, thank you.